with all the talk of the big beautiful bill, I'm here to remind you that you may think that it does not affect you because in your mind because you work and you have bills that you're not poor, but I'm here to tell you that the average person that you see is probably poor. The average person, your average coworker, majority of your coworkers are probably poor. Let me tell you why. In 2025, being poor doesn't look like living on the street, no car, no clothes, no food. Being poor looks like right now money, only having right now money, only having this month money. Being poor looks like you don't have 5 year money, you don't have 10 year money because you have a whole bunch of liabilities, but no assets, no ownership. That's poor.
What? Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all, because I just got to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly. And I do plan on just watching this in its entirety, so I will make sure that I play this in its entirety because I want to get the full context. And maybe I'm missing something, but having 5 year money and poor, it's a gap in between that, right? So if you are doing well, because basically what she's describing is people that have what I like to call self inflicted wounds. And self inflicted wounds are decisions that you are making. It doesn't mean that you're not making enough money. It does not mean that you don't have the greatest opportunities ever living in the United States of America. It doesn't mean that you're not educated. It does not mean you don't have the capability of being able to go back to school. It doesn't mean that you can't work two jobs. It doesn't mean that you're not out here tricking it. Like what she's basically saying is liabilities mean that you made poor life decisions. And here's the beautiful part about that. You can stop. You can stop making bad decisions. You can atone for your bad decisions by making sure that you're not out here tricking on these hoes. And instead, you can pay off your credit card. You can put your money towards your student loans. You can actually sell that car and not have to drive a Hellcat because you can't really afford it and you're trying to impress people and keep up with the Joneses. The real problem in America, to be honest with you, and this is one of the reasons why we have the ability to be able to tariff other countries, is because we are the biggest consumers on earth. And when you are the biggest consumer on earth, then people that are an export nation can take advantage of these consumers. And so what Trump was able to do basically, and I'm going to bring this back down to the politics because she's basically talking about the big beautiful bill. What Trump was able to do was leverage our buying power and the fact that we finance everything in order to keep up with the Joneses, in order to make sure that we punish other countries that's depending on our consumerism to survive. But most people have a spending problem. They don't have a poverty problem. Poverty looks much different. You see how we able to watch this video on these phones? You see how she's able to record? That's not a poor problem. You see what I'm saying? You see how people have a car that they're recording out of, and some of y'all decide that y'all want to go and get a car note instead of just getting something paid off or pay off something and just ride it till the wheels fall off. Buying new things, going to do certain things, that's either a business decision or it's a luxury. And I think that we are so spoiled here in America that it's hard for us to be able to differentiate between what is a luxury and what is a need. And a need is something that you have to have in order to survive. A luxury is a nice to have and something that's extra, and you don't have to raise your standard of living or how much you're paying for being able to live in order to be able to keep up with other people or in order to feel like you're a part of the group, a part of what American culture is. The average person has car notes over $800. That's why you see so many repossessions coming. The average person is spending more than X amount of dollars in rent or on a mortgage, or they gotta live in this nice, super dope neighborhood instead of holding down grandmama's house or living with your parents up until you 30 and then you're ready and you're prepared to go and buy your own house and you have that level of stability to where you don't have to worry about your next meal. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. You don't have to have four kids. You don't have to go and get a car note. You don't have to go and get this expensive apartment. You don't have to move to New York and Miami and Los Angeles in order to feel like you're a part of the crew. You don't have to go and quit your job just because it was hard and you don't like it until you go and get another job. You can get more another job. You don't have to go and get credit cards. You don't have to spend a whole lot of credit. You don't have to do all of these things. So when she says stuff like you are poor, because you don't have 5 year money, I have to 100% disagree with her. I 100% disagree with her. No, you have a poor person's mentality because you are a consumer. And if you really pay attention to how much money people make versus how much they spend, that's really the problem. But let me go ahead and play this in its entirety because I want to make sure we capture the full sentiment of what she's trying to communicate because she's trying to tell us, I'm assuming until I see the whole video, she's trying to tell us that this big beautiful bill affects you too, or it affects your neighbors because they poor.
With all the talk of the big beautiful bill, I'm here to remind you that you may think that it does not affect you because you in your mind because you work and you have bills that you're not poor, but I'm here to tell you that the average person that you see is probably poor. The average person, your average coworker, majority of your coworkers are probably poor. Let me tell you why. In 2025, being poor doesn't look like living on the street, no car, no clothes, no food. Being poor looks like right now money, only having right now money, only having this month money. Being poor looks like you don't have 5 year money, you don't have 10 year money because you have a whole bunch of liabilities, but no assets, no ownership. That's poor today in 2025. Being poor today in 2025 means going to work every day and still having nothing in your bank account. See, being poor doesn't have a number. Being poor is more about placement and advancement. See, when you make it harder to obtain, you hinder people and you keep them stagnated and you keep them placed in a certain position continuously. That's what being poor is in 2025. So, yes, I know, shocking. It probably does affect you. It probably does affect your neighbor. It probably does affect a lot of people.
I want to know, because everybody is speaking in generalities, and I know that people speak in generalities because they don't know what the fuck they talking about, right? I want to know what is in this big beautiful bill that very few Democrats, liberals, and people actually is even read. A lot of people take their talking points from the internet. A lot of these people take their talking points based off their assumptions. And so they don't really know what they're talking about. This bill was over 900 pages. I was able to get through it because I also leveraged AI in order to, go through and look at everything that's inside of this bill. Hakeem Jeffries wanted to grandstand and act like he was really doing something. And he spent 9 hours just talking shit. Uh, I want to know exactly what's in this bill that's preventing you from becoming successful. Because nothing in this bill actually hurts the middle class. Everything in this bill helps people. It helps you get more of a return on your income. It helps you with the end of the year filings as far as your tips and overtime. It helps you to be able to find a job, and that's combined with the fact that we are removing illegal migrants inside of the United States of America and sending them back to their country. It actually frees up housing because you don't have a bunch of people taking advantage of the system. It now allows for us to actually send and spend benefits on the people that actually need it, like people that have disabilities or our veterans or our elderly, and we're not utilizing taxpayer dollars for fraud, waste, and abuse. He actually gave a lot of the returns back to the middle class as far as lowering the taxes that you have to pay, and he extended the Trump tax cuts. He's actually created more jobs in the United States of America by not only forcing people to invest here, but also incentivizing companies to create more jobs inside of the United States of America, bringing manufacturers back, not just being a consumer nation, so on and so forth. So, if anybody can let me know in the chat if you are a liberal or you are a Democrat or you disagree with this bill and you saying that it affects people, because if you're telling me that requiring people to go back to school, or if you are an able-bodied adult for you to actually work and bring home income and qualify yourself by working at least 20 hours a week or doing volunteer work, if that's what you're telling me that he's preventing you from being able to really run it up, has somebody in the chat, or if this woman sees this, which I'm not advocating for it too. But I always like to leave and put a link back to the person in order to give them credit, regardless of whether I agree with them or not. If somebody can tell me and help me to understand how this bill affects them in a negative way, I'm all ears. Let me know. Keep me in the loop.